I would like to welcome to the stage Penny, who is the MD of Rituals in the UK, to talk to us about her new app that they've just launched. She's already making her way here now, seamlessly. Come on up, Penny. Hello. How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Can everyone hear Penny?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Marvellous. And we're going to get Guy up in a bit to talk to us a little bit, but I'm going to chat to you first of all. So I'm going to do an awkward lean on a bar stool because I can never get comfortable. So you're the MD of UK and Ireland for Rituals. So for those in the room that may not know, can you tell us a bit more about Rituals, what you guys do?
So
and who you are?
Rituals was founded 18 years ago. It's a bath, body and home brand. I'd say more of a lifestyle brand, which was launched in the Netherlands. So our CEO, Raymond Kloesterman, went to the Far East. He wanted to find what the best kind of next new thing was, what the trend was back 18 years ago. And he came across the concept called Rituals, which is all about taking your everyday routines and turning them into meaningful rituals. And we've got now over 600 standalone store, 1,500 points of sales with wholesale. We've got a big travel business. So it's become a global household name.
Lovely. And you look after the UK?
Yes, that's right.
And how many stores and employees have you got?
So we've got 23 stores, 28 by the end of the year. So still some work to do. And we've got over 250 employees now.
Okay, lovely. And I find this particularly interesting because really you've got what we would call a remote workforce, so people that aren't online all the time, which is the hardest to reach. So what made you, and I know from talking to the guys at Speap, this was something that came from the global head office, is that right?
Yes, correct.
And so were you involved in the decision behind introducing the app, or was it?
I wasn't involved in the decision, but I could see why the decision was made. I think the brand has grown so quickly. And I think to be able to have consistency in what you're doing and to share messages quickly, to keep on that growth trend, you need something like this.
And did you have anything before in the UK? Did you have an internet platform, or was there anything?
No, we didn't.
Nothing?
No.
Wow.
I know, it's big. And we're all about going paperless as well by next year, completely paperless. So we do things very quickly.
Gosh. And culturally, so you introduced the app in May?
Yes, that's right.
And so how do you use it? I think we've got, so there might be some screenshots we've got as well that will show the app. So how do you use it?
So we use it, I mean, I'm a big advocate, and I think it all starts from the leaders. And I think to really win in the marketplace, you really need to win in the workplace first. It's all about people. Our people, we call them our heartbeats. So I mean, me, myself, every Monday I'll post a quote of the week. To really inspire people and talk about results. We use it to tell them about new store openings, which you'll see on the left-hand side. And we get the kind of global feeds as well. And that's quite inspiring for the teams to see how the brand is doing and how we're growing globally. We use it to exchange kind of information on high ticket sales, so it adds a lot of competition between the staff, incentives. We actually also use it if something is not working, is DAX down, so that's our product portal. So if tills are not working, it's like the perfect way to kind of communicate it quickly to your teams to say, listen, it's all in hand. What else? We use it for if we've got customer kind of emails that come through. We use it to post on there on customer satisfaction, which is really nice.
So you're using it as a recognition platform as well as everything else. So you must have had to work quite closely with HR and IT, and everybody was working together.
IT, and also putting kind of together tools on how we're going to use it as well. But I think once you and your heads of start using it, it's easier then for the rest of the teams to use it.
Excellent. And how easy has it been getting your maybe fellow heads of department or leadership team using the app?
I think it's been quite easy because if you look at email these days, we're all inundated with so much email, and this has been a really kind of quick way of communicating to your teams and getting results quickly as well. So they see the benefits of it really quickly. In terms of the store teams, I think that has been a little bit more difficult because if you're not used to being on your phone, then kind of looking at it and replying and feeling confident enough to say, okay, I'm going to put a post on there, that's taken a bit more time. Because as a business, we are very non-hierarchical. We're kind of a very flat structure. We're all about being authentic and really, saying what's on your mind. So for some of the, sales associates, it was originally quite difficult. But now they've gotten really used to it, and they really enjoy it. They really enjoy celebrating successes through it as well.
I think it's lovely. I think having worked with a remote workforce a lot, getting them on their phones can be quite challenging. Having to download the app to a personal mobile. Also, a lot of the messages that come from Central are always about being customer facing and doing the sales. So how have you managed that?
That's been quite easy. We do it as before they actually join us. Once they sign their contract, they get a letter. So they actually have to download the app first before they come into the family of rituals.
And is it completely part of the onboarding process?
It is.
And do they have to go through, do any training through the app or anything like that? Or is it just to get news?
Not necessarily. I think we do have like a code of conduct of what you kind of can post and not post on there, which they do get when they start.
Okay.
But no, they love it, and they haven't seen anything like it before, a lot of them, in the way we use it. So we've got our UK and Irish team together, and then we have subgroups.
Okay.
So depending on the messages that you want to send out to your teams, I think it's the perfect vehicle, and it eliminates things like WhatsApp, emails to a bigger degree.
Marvellous. And have you found that it's actually demonstrated any kind of business outcome results? Can you track measurement for it?
I think you can. I mean, for one, if you kind of set incentives really quickly, you can see the results really quickly. For me, it's all about, the key performance indicators in a business is really your employee engagement, your customer satisfaction, your cash flow. And if those three work together, then you've got success. So my view is that if your teams and if your people are happy, they will kind of be able to give that perfect customer kind of satisfaction. And with that comes money. So, we're seeing a 25% like-for-like growth in the UK at the moment, which is fantastic considering the current economic climate, and a 60% growth as a business. So, for sure, I could see a correlation between what we post on there and the results.
Great. And do you find when you're out in store, do you use it when you're in store with people? Are they using it with you when you go?
So, when I do my store visits, I'll post what I see, I'll put it up there. And then the teams feel really proud because they feel that they're really recognized, and that just gives them a bit more energy and passion for the brand. So it is a way of connecting in the right way with your people and really have them engaged all the time.
Great.
So that's,
and how long did it take? Because this came over from the team in Amsterdam, that's right, isn't it? And you launched it in May. So how long did it take from that initial conversation to actually launching it in the UK? Because you'd have to launch it with nothing else. There's a lot of content that you'd need to add. So how long was that journey for you guys?
It was, I'd say it was about 2 months. So it wasn't very long at all.
And the app itself can hold files and it works in the same way as an intranet would work. So you can have files and everything else on it.
Yeah.
So there's no need for a separate intranet with the app.
No,
We talked a lot today about that integration piece, but this is everything all on its own.
Exactly.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
And what was the biggest challenge for you around the launch of it?
I think it was, I'd probably say to get people on board really, really quickly and for them to see the benefits of it really quickly. So we had a communication plan in place for all the senior teams to start using it and to really, really encourage the teams to use it. So cascading it kind of downwards. That was I think the biggest challenge in the beginning, but we overcame it really quickly.
Anyone that's particularly difficult as a leadership team?
It's always, I think, the people who are more introverted. It's the people who are not really into social, who are not going to use Instagram and Twitter and Facebook themselves. But they really see the benefits, which is about the business at the end of the day, that your people and the business. So they've come around to it as well.
And do you think you'd add any other digital platforms into the mix for this, or does this sort of suit all of your needs?
No, I think this is perfect. It simplifies things. It gets you acting really quickly. And it's just, I think it's a fantastic tool. We're really happy to have it.
Have you had any kind of crisis at the moment where this has come into its own? You may not be able to talk about that, but obviously the speed and pace of the business and the app would mean that if something terrible happened, you could use the app to.
Well, when the tills, we had globally our tills went down for about 2 hours a couple of weeks ago. So it was a great way of our global IT director to go on there and just give us an update every kind of half an hour. And if we didn't have that, it would be, okay, I would have to call Amsterdam, then I would have to feed that back to my retail director, then he would have to call the area managers. So you kind of were losing time as well. So I think for these kind of things, it's perfect.
Perfect. It's a lovely case study. I'm going to invite Guy to come up from Speap so he can tell us a bit more. Come on up. Any which way you like. We've made it really difficult by you sitting at the back. But what I'm really interested in is looking at some of this functionality around the app. So if we get Guy up, then we can talk a little bit more about how it works. Because it looks very similar to a lot of other apps on the market. There's about 200. So no pressure. But I'm just wondering what's so different about yours. I mean, the story here is lovely, and it paints a really amazing picture of the product. But I just want to understand what makes it so different to others that are out there in the market.
Yeah, so it's a good point, actually. In terms of it looking like a lot of other solutions out there, that's on purpose. We want to make sure that what users are used to using in their social lives, so be that LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and these enterprise-grade quality apps, that's mirrored also in their work life. So when they switch it on, they expect the same level of functionality, the same level of ease of use. So we spend a huge amount of time looking at that, and we have about 30 developers in-house in Amsterdam who are working on this all the time and making sure we update in line with what else is happening in the market. The 4 key USPs are, one is the branded app, which seems quite small, but actually it's huge because it really separates it from everything else that people have on their phone. And for sort of the retail, leisure, entertainment space, where lots of people are part-time, you've got quite high turnover. So it's important when people switch on their phone that that it stands out and that it actually has some identity. So, and what we see with that is we see very sort of high usage figures. So on average across all 300 partners we have, we see about 4 logins a day and about 35 seconds per login. So sort of very high frequency in terms of how people are using it. The second point, and this is the piece that separates us from pretty much everyone else in the market, is how we built the software. So we build it so we can mirror an organization's hierarchy. So that way, rather than opening an app that you see everything from everyone, and then you look at groups, and you're in and out of different groups to see the relevant timelines, we work from the basis that we put people into the relevant location, department, and groups. And we do that when we invite them in. And then we'll make sure that there's some pre-population in terms of content. But it means every time someone goes in, they're seeing what's relevant to them. So they can very quickly see, in chronological order, whatever's happening in each of those timelines. They can then look separately into each group if they want to look specifically. But when they're looking at their main timeline, they're seeing what it is for them at that time. Added to that means from an administrator perspective, it's super easy to send relevant content because you can choose to send it to everyone, or you can choose it to location, department, group, or a combination of that. So much more intuitive from a send perspective, but much more relevant from a receive perspective. And then the third point is around trying to get around the issue where a lot of people are inundated with apps and with work apps. So they might have a workforce management tool, they might have an LMS tool, they might have a holiday planner or a task manager. So we built the platform on an open source platform. So that way, all you need to do is link in the API, and then you can use Speap as your one-stop shop. So rather than employees and users of the app then having to go to 4 or 5 different places, they can integrate whatever apps they have from whatever provider that they have, and then use Speap as a way of bringing them together. So for employees, they just have one place to go. So a good example is Selfridges in the Netherlands, de Bijenkorf. They had about 4 or 5 different apps. They now pull them all into Speap. So they have their task manager, their workforce management tool, their ordering tool, and so on. So it becomes, again, one-stop shop, and it makes people's lives easier.
Marvellous. And so how for this one, this has been going for 6 months for you guys in the UK.
Yes.
So how are you measuring success? Both of you can answer that one.
In terms of business?
In terms of the business success. So we talked about like-for-like sales earlier, which I think is amazing. Can't necessarily attribute that completely to the app. I mean, it would be lovely, but that's probably pushing it slightly. So what's the real measurement for you guys after sort of 6 months of this success?
Well, I'll take it beyond that, actually, because, again, the data is much richer in terms of all the clients that we have. So the key sort of ROI indicators are, From an onboarding perspective, so as Penny mentioned, again, we encourage every organisation that signs up with Speap to send it to their users before they start. So again, they can then get welcomed into the team, they can see an onboarding pack, they can download all the relevant information as they need it. So onboarding, we tend to see about 25% improvement in onboarding speed. So people just get there quicker because they start on day one, they've already spotted there. They can see people who they're working with within their different groups and relevant information. Second part is through accessibility. So again, productivity, should I say. So because people aren't duplicating effort, so we see 20-30% increase in productivity because there's less duplication of effort. Sending emails, printing stuff, putting on bulletin boards, team meetings and gathers because people, you have to do it 4 times a week to get people together because they're all in at different times. So you see massive improvements there. And then also in terms of absenteeism and retention, because people who are more engaged, more connected within the business can get their response to their questions faster. They tend to stay around for longer, especially within the retail space where it's very high turnover.
Yeah, we've actually seen an improvement on our retention rate by 4% already.
Okay.
Which I think is fantastic.
That's really good. Amazing. It's a lovely story. I think from a remote workforce perspective, it's lovely to have somebody here that can talk about how you're actually succeeding in engaging them. I think we might have some questions, Mark. You're the man in charge of that. So have you got any for me yet?
They're just coming up on the screen now. Let's start with Louise Walker.
So how do you balance the CX-facing elements shop floor usage, for example? I don't really know what that question means.
How do you deal with customers and look at your phone at the same time?
So from our point of view, on the shop floor, the manager is the only one who has her phone with her. And then the teams know that at peak trading time, so from around 12 o'clock until 6 o'clock, they're not allowed to be on their phones. And then if there's anything really, really important, the manager actually communicates it to them. But during their break times, lunch times, coming to work, going to work, that's when they use it the most, you could see.
Okay, and you can see that in the data, you can see the spike coming up and around.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. So on average across all 300 partners, across 27 different languages, we see on average about 4 logins a day. But then for rituals, for instance, we see about 8.5 logins a day. Because again, there's a bit more creep in terms of people who can use it at certain times within the shop floor. So it all depends on what the protocol is. But.
Lovely. We've got another question. So having the app as part of onboarding or the contract, does that ever generate a pushback from people?
We haven't had a pushback so far, to be honest. And it's a good question because, I mean, our sales associates, they use their own phone. But I think they want to be part of your vision. They want to be part of something bigger. And then if they've committed to work for you, they're engaged. They know that they're engaged by using the app and it helps them. So there's more advantages to disadvantages.
And it sounds like you've got a much broader engagement strategy that this is part of as well.
Exactly.
Which probably supports that. So what's your development strategy to keep the app fresh? That's from Emily.
That's a really good question. Ongoing. So we do releases every 2 to 4 weeks. So the big release we've just done is the non-email sign-up, so the alternative registration form, which we'll talk about in the breakout session. Coming up, we've got improved features around the private messaging to mirror what's happening with WhatsApp, so you can show when messages have been sent, when they've been received, when people are typing. We've got some Pulse technology going into there for sort of at some point next year. So again, you can start to look at the analytics piece. So it's a combination of look and feel. So again, making sure we keep up with the look and feel of what's in the market, but also what's coming back from partners and prospects who request certain things. And where we're seeing a lot of that, then we'll look to integrate it. And because this is all we do, and this is all the developers work on, it means we can be very responsive in terms of how we do it.
And do you do your development strategy in partnership with your customers, so rituals, and I know you mentioned you've got your partners in the market, but do you do a specific development strategy for a specific partner, or?
No, it's a good question. So we will do regular meetings with partners to get feedback in terms of what they want, and then there's an annual plan we put in place. But it's a SaaS-based platform, so everyone shares the same functionality. Okay. So therefore, again, the smallest client or the biggest client, they'll get the benefit from the new features that roll out.
Lovely. We have another question from Jack. So how do you stop users bypassing IT when there is an IT issue and asking on your tool? Do minor issues ever get blown out of proportion as a result? So I guess linked to the tills are down,
I
maybe.
think if there's a big IT issue, they are asking the questions on the app, but then we have the right people answering. So as long as it, who needs to answer and who's in the lead and taking ownership of something, then it makes it easier as opposed to staff being a little confused about what's going on and trying to come up with their own solutions.
So do you have an IT help desk or something like that people would not ordinarily be asked to phone up to say this has happened?
Yes, so the IT help desk, when the tills went down, they're the ones that posted.
Okay.
And they're the ones that said, right, every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, we'll keep you updated on.
Great. And does this work with that? So could I post on the app to say, I've got this problem, rather than picking up the phone?
Yes.
Or do we drive people to still pick up the phone?
It's through the app.
Through the app. Okay, brilliant.
We encourage that.
It's completely integrated into the business
Exactly.
then, isn't it?
That's
So there's
what's
nowhere
great
to
about
hide. So how did you make the initial business case for the investment in an app? Do you know much about that? Because obviously it came over from...
I know a little bit. I think what I said initially, that for us it was about building that consistency within the business and making sure that there's one language for all employees. I actually asked our IT director a couple of weeks ago, and his biggest regret is not having launched it earlier. So
I think there's a great video that you showed me earlier, Guy, which is the guys in Amsterdam talking about the rationale for this. Where did it come from? Did it come from the IT team who approached you guys for this, or was it a joined up effort?
Yeah, so from my understanding, so this was about 2 years ago, we partnered with Rituals in Amsterdam, and at the time they were expanding rapidly across the globe, so 2 stores per week, multiple languages, different touch points, and they wanted a way to communicate from head office. So that was the start point, which they needed a way that they could reach and engage in a very sort of efficient and mobile format. So that was the initial business case. If you look at it broadly across all the different types of clients we work with, again, the business case, it can come from a number of different places, but a lot of the time it's around what other channels being used. So again, be it email, be it the intranet, be it other licenses that are being paid for, be it WhatsApp. Again, whilst no one would speak publicly about the fact that most employees on shop floor are using WhatsApp to communicate across the shop floor, it's a reality. So companies don't condone it, but it's an everyday reality. So companies need to find a way to provide a private and secure solution for that. So that's often one of the business cases, which is we need to make this compliant.
Lovely. We've got time for one question, so I'll make this one the last one, which is, do you have stats that show the demographics of the employees engaging with your app? It's Emily again. She's got all the questions.
No. But what we do have is we've got stats across all different types of companies. So again, you can get a feel then in terms of so not so much the demographics of the employees, but the demographics related to those stores, be it from, again, Rituals to IKEA to McDonald's to Nike to Billy's Bakeries in New York. So again, a whole range of different clients that you can then start to take some context from that.
Great. Thank you very much, both, for joining us today. I know that you're around for a little while. I know you're heading off because you've got more stores to open for the rest of this year. But you're around all day, aren't you, Guy? So I think if you have got a remote workforce, I think it's definitely worth a conversation. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.